So I want to look at the topic of how you can actually optimize for a keyword phrase. And with Panda and Penguin, it's become a lot more difficult, as we're going to see in this video. So I'm logged into the Google Keyword Planner, and I'm going to just type in a word just to seed some ideas. I'm going to type in tea. In fact, I'm going to change that, I think, to green tea. Oh, we've got green tea here. Let me just change that. I want to search for green tea because it's a very popular healthy drink. And if we look down, we can see an estimated cost per click. We can see the average monthly searches. Now, the old way that we would create web pages is we would find keyword terms that had a high number of monthly searches and a high suggested bid, perhaps a low competition. And we've got a good example here. This is a long tail phrase. Is drinking green tea good for you? So that's 7 words in the phrase, and yet according to Google it's searched between 100 and 1,000 times a month. Low competition, but if you get clicks, that's €8.78 per click. That's the suggested bid to AdWords advertisers if they want to advertise on that keyword phrase. That's about $9.50 per click. If somebody was to click on an AdSense ad on your site and you're ranking for is drinking green tea good for you, you could well be getting a big chunk of change. So in the old days, we would identify words like this. Okay, we probably want a little bit more search volume, but this is a good example to stick with at the moment. Let's go over to Google and do a search for that phrase. Let me just highlight it, right click, search on Google. And we've got the search results up here, and I've got my search results set so that it's showing me 100 web pages at a time. Let's just press F3 to bring up the search box and paste in the phrase, is drinking green tea good for you? Now, in the old way that we used to optimize a page, we'd identify the keyword phrase. We would use that keyword phrase in the title, probably the file name, probably in the first paragraph somewhere, maybe even in a header on the page. And yet I've got 100 results here. And you can see, is drinking green tea good for you appears twice on the page. Once is my search term there, and the other one is down here. Search is related to, is drinking green tea good for you? So we've got a keyword phrase here that has low competition and offers advertisers $9.50 or €8, nearly €9 compensation if somebody clicks on the ad, yet there are no web pages in the top 100 that has that exact phrase in the title or even in the description. I'm not sure whether you understand how the description is generated in the Google SERPs. Usually Google, if the keyword phrase that is being searched for, in this case is drinking green tea good for you, if it appears in the meta description, then that will be used as the description you see here. If it's not in the meta description, then Google will try to find this exact phrase somewhere on the page, and it will then create its own description based on the text that includes that search term. Well, we've just seen with this particular search that that search term doesn't appear in any description. Therefore, it's unlikely to appear exactly as this, is drinking green tea good for you, on any of the top 100 web pages. So the question is, how are these pages ranking for that search term if they don't include that phrase? The answer is that these pages are using theme words and theme phrases related to the topic of, is drinking green tea good for you? In other words, the health benefits of green tea. And I can show you that using Web Content Studio. If I type in, is drinking green tea good for you, into the spider and click on the one-click spider, I'll pause the video until it completes. And that took about a minute to come back with these results. And what you can see here is that 10 out of 10 of the top 10 pages included the word antioxidants, green, health, tea. 9 out of the top 10 pages in Google included these words: bad, benefits, cancer, drinking, fat, found, healthy, help, improve, studies, weight. And then we've got words that appear on 8 of the top 10 and 7 of the top 10. If we look at the phrases over on the right hand side, all 10 of the top 10 pages naturally had the word green tea in it, but they also had, at least 8 out of the top 10, the phrase health benefits, weight loss, and so on. So all of these words and phrases that are being used on these pages are telling Google that these pages are a good match for the search term. Is drinking green tea good for you? Earlier in the video, we got Web Content Studio to come up with a list of theme words and phrases that appeared on a lot of the top 10 pages in Google. And here are the theme words. So I want to take these theme words and actually do an analysis of the pages in the top 100 to see how many of them actually include, or what percentage of these words are included on those pages in the top 10. Now, fortunately, I've developed a tool to do this that's built into my personal copy of Web Content Studio. It's not built into everybody's copy, it's just my copy. And what I've done is I've grabbed the SERPs, the URLs that are ranking in Google. Here they are in Google. And even though Google says at the top that there is 33.3 million results, that's not quite true, because if we try to go to page 7, remember each of these pages has 100, it doesn't have 7 pages. Let's try page 4. Okay, and up now it's telling us page 4 of 393 results. If we scroll to the bottom, you can see that Google has actually only listed 400 results. It says all the others are basically not adding to this set of search results. Therefore, there's only 400 pages ranking for is drinking green tea good for you? So let's go back to Web Content Studio and this special tool I told you about. What I've done is I've grabbed the SERPs and I can import them into my tool. So here I've got the top 10 results, then from 100 to 110, 200 to 210, 300 to 310. We only go down to 400 with these results, so I can't go any further than that. And what this is going to do when I click on Create Theme Report is it's going to download these pages and it's going to compare them to the keywords that Web Content Studio said are pretty important theme words to be used. And I'm going to pause the video because this process takes a few minutes. And the report has just popped up. Let me just enlarge that a little bit so you can see it. And what this does is it essentially goes through every page that has been analyzed, and it does an analysis as if you were using Web Content Studio on it, and it tells you how well the articles are themed. The thing I'm interested in is the percentage of theme words used. Now, this one uses 97% of the theme words used. Altogether, we had 66 theme words, so it's using 64 out of 66 theme words, that first article. The second one uses 84.8% of the theme words used, so it's using 55 out of 66. Let's scroll to the very bottom, because this is where we get some interesting results, because we get a summary of the various pages. And these summaries are divided into the areas where the pages were taken from in the SERP. So we've got an area, these are the top 10 pages, this is the pages ranking 101 to 110. Now, we can ignore some of this information because this information is just extra information that I've added in, that Web Content Studio also adds in. What I'm interested in is this one, the average different theme words used, because that tells us how many of the theme words that Web Content Studio identified are the pages ranking in that area of the SERPs using. And so those ranking in the top 10 are using on average 84.4% of those theme words. So nearly 56 out of 66 theme words that were identified, those pages are using. If we look at the pages ranking 101 to 110, they're using 54.5, which is almost the same as those ranking 1 to 10. So they're using 82.6% of the selected theme words. If we go down to 200, 210, we've got a bit of a drop off, and that can usually happen if one page is ranking out of place and it doesn't have a lot of content, or Web Content Studio couldn't grab the content properly. But we've still got 56.8% of the theme words that were identified being used down in the 200 to 210 range. And then in the 301 to 310, we've got 39 of the 66 theme words being used, so 59.1%. So all of the pages that are ranking in Google for this term, right the way down to the bottom one, which is number 400, they all have the same set of core theme words in them. That's why Google ranks them and doesn't consign them to the supplemental index, because it is finding the important words and phrases that Google associates with the search term in the article itself. Just to highlight that these numbers here down in the 200, 210, 300, 310 may be underestimates. This one here says that 59.1% of the theme words are used, but if we scroll up, we should be able to find an example where the page is not really ranking because of the theme words, but for some other reason. And here we have a good example. Look, this one that's ranked 302, it only has 22 words on the page. Okay, which means that it's using 1.5% of the theme words. Well, that's fine, you say. Let's go and have a look at the web page, because we can't just exclude it just because it doesn't obey what we are hoping for. However, look at this one. This page here, greenteacape.in, is redirecting to bayreviews.org green tea. And here is the article that's being redirected to. So Web Content Studio isn't seeing the redirect, it's seeing the actual page that is ranking. And this is a case of this page using cloaking redirects that if Google finds out, that page will be eliminated. But this 1.5% of theme words used brought this average down considerably. So if we say 59.1 was the average, multiply it by 10, and then take away the 1.5% for that page that shouldn't have been ranking, we're left with that divided by 9 pages now, and the average number of theme words being used is up to 65.5. So these numbers are probably higher based on a few rogue results that you might find in the SERPs. But certainly you can see here 100 to 110, a high number of those theme words are being used. So what does that mean going forward in SEO now? It means that if you want to rank for specific phrases like this, you have to work out which words and phrases Google associates with that search term, the searcher's intent, and then create your content based on those words and not the specific phrase you're looking to rank for. Panda, penguin, pigeon, hummingbird, pirate, all the other Google updates have made it near impossible for you to identify high demand, low competition, high cost per click, and then optimize for that specific phrase. And the proof you need is in the SERPs. Go and do a search, find out how many of the top 100 actually include that as a title, and you'll see that Google is not ranking pages because they have a keyword in the title or in the description or on the page itself. It's to do with the themes. Let's just take one final example that used to be heavily spammed. Buy prescription drugs online. It used to be that there were website domains that were buyprescriptiondrugsonline.com and loads of pages that had buy prescription drugs online in the title. Let's see how many of the top 100 actually have that in the web page. There we go, buy prescription drugs online. It says 1 of 22 on this page. Well, let's start counting the ones that don't count. That is one instance, that doesn't count. So that's 1. That doesn't count because that's not a web page listing, so that's 2. Okay, these ones all count. But if we scroll to the bottom, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of the top 100, the exact phrase buy prescription drugs online occurs 15 times. And you can see most of them don't have it in the title. Some of them have it in the description, but it's not essential to have buy prescription drugs online in the title or even in the content to rank for that phrase. It all depends on the theme words and phrases that are on the page that tell Google that's what this page is about.